Welcome to Behind the Scenes with Music and the Spoken Word. I'm Derek Porter, and today I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa, at the South Africa Broadcasting Corporation with special guests Yashika Singh and Roma Thompson. Roma, Yashika, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
It is so great to be here with both of you, and I have enjoyed the last several days that we've had to spend time together, both through our own interviews that we've done, through breaking some bread together, and through getting to talk about your journeys with music and the spoken word. It's really been special.
It's been special for us as well.
So, it's an honor for us, actually, to have you in the country.
Well, thank you. So, Roma, yes. Now your career began at SABC here back in 1976, if I understand correctly. Yes. So you are a veteran.
They call us the pioneers.
You really were a pioneer, yes. Though. I mean, TV was fresh and new in the country at that time. Yes. Is that right?
That's right. We didn't have it before.
When did it come to South Africa?
In 76.
It was in 76.
Yes, I didn't grow up with television, so my aim was always, I love radio. So I wanted to work at the SABC and joined with radio. Happened to be the same year that television started officially. And within 13 months, the Lord opened the door for me to be able to move to the religious department of television and become involved in religious programs and production.
And that's where you spent the bulk of your career, was on the religious? 34
out of my 44 years was with religion. And
amazing.
Spreading the word through the Christian programs,
yeah.
Yes.
You've retired now,
yes,
but you continue to support and watch and cheer on from afar. Absolutely. And mentor Yashika and others that are around with this incredible journey.
Well, we were such a family as the religious department. They've not allowed me to forget them.
Yeah.
And it's such a privilege to be still part of the broadcast.
Well, it's really special what you have done together, both of you. And Yashika, you've spent more than 2 decades in shaping faith-based television in a different era. And maybe, Yashika, let's start with you. Tell us what draws you to faith-based media. We've had opportunity to be in Salt Lake City together.
Absolutely.
I've heard of some of the great work that you've done with even taking the religious message of SABC even beyond Christianity to other most important forms of religion as well. Tell us just a little bit about what draws you and inspires you to this work.
So I've been involved with interfaith work for a very long time, even as a student before I joined the SABC. And for me, it was a privilege to actually be in the public broadcaster and to serve in a public space. I had many opportunities to work in a commercial environment, but I think the biggest battle that we always face is the secular world and the religious world. And I always believe that there should be an opportunity to harmonize the two. It's not always easy. So for me, joining the SABC was a special privilege. Joining the religious department itself was an opportunity to share the beauty of the word, the spoken word, the sounds that we have in our different traditions, and to bring that all together. Because the public broadcaster is an environment where all voices need to be heard. And it is our special privilege and duty to actually exercise care and love and to bring that into fruition. So I was very much privileged to be part of the journey. Yeah. And I think the journey of change was an important one in 96 when I first joined the SABC.
Well, and I was fascinated yesterday. We gathered for a lunch together, and I thought to myself at this table, we have a born-again Christian, we have a Hindu, 5th generation from India,
yes.
Here in Africa now. Mm-hmm. We had Mark, who is a Jew and represents so many of our friends from the Jewish faith. Yeah. We had a Latter-day Saint, and we had probably some others around the table too.
Yes.
And I thought about this amalgamation of faith and of people with seemingly great differences, and yet the union, the unity that at least I felt and that I've experienced with you is really something, and I think is a testament to the work that you're doing. Now, Music in the Spoken Word has been airing here in South Africa for over 20 or so years.
Absolutely.
And this was really championed by the two of you who both spent a considerable amount of time, well over a decade each and beyond, reviewing and watching each broadcast, making sure it met all of the standards, putting that out and pushing that forward. Tell us about, Roma, tell us about what Music in the Spoken Word has done for you in your heart over time as you've watched these episodes?
Well, one of the comments I've often thought about was I used to receive quite a number of episodes from which to choose the number we needed.
Okay.
So I'd try and find some that possibly related to South Africa.
Yeah.
And I'd sit there watching, trying to view and think, this is work. It is such a privilege that I'm sitting here and this is called work. And it was an absolute blessing because I got every message.
Yeah.
And I could sit there at my desk in the middle of a busy day and just be at peace and watch. So it was very difficult to choose which ones to eliminate.
Right.
Because they were all just so special. And so it's been an encouragement to me to have that happen.
Wow. Thank you. And that lasted for years and years and years that you were doing
this. Yes, I took over from about 2010. And I had to retire in 2020, so it was 10 years.
So 10 years worth of watching all of these episodes.
Right. Yes.
You've watched a lot more than I've watched. Yes. I need to call you to say, what are some good ideas that you have about a spoken word message?
It was so special.
Wow. And Yashika, you then got involved in the broadcast about what time frame, what years?
Almost 20 years, I would
almost
imagine.
20 years.
Because Yapi, we had another commissioning editor from the Christian faith who was tasked to work with the programs. Now remember, we work with many languages, so obviously music and the spoken word is English. Yeah. So we had to align the different commissioning editors with the different programs in the languages. Yeah. And SABC's journey was to allow the space of newer languages to be foregrounded, and at the same time keep the authenticity of the messages in the original languages, which in this case was English. So and Roma is absolutely right. It's not work. It was just inspiration. What I admired is the dedication and care in the production value of a program. And I've often used music and the spoken word in our training sessions to new producers.
Really?
Because we had to set the standards of gospel music or worship music, etc. And we've often used that in our training programs. So not just religion, but also entertainment music shows as well. It set the bar, and it still does.
Wow.
So
wow.
we are actually privileged in that regard.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We got to spend some time together at the Tabernacle Choir's Christmas concert. Yes. We're going to figure out a way to get Roma there one day as well with us in person so that you can experience that.
I've got a little point to talk about with regard to that because I've been there.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Well,
I don't want to interrupt you.
No, tell us that real quick, and we're going to come right back here, but tell us about your experience.
Because I've been working with the mission couples as they came out originally.
From the Church of Jesus Christ?
From the church to work with the programs.
Yeah.
They combined together through Sean Donnelly's engineering, let's put it that way, to take me to Salt Lake City in 2015.
No way.
And my hand was held from Johannesburg Airport back to Johannesburg Airport. I've even got photographs of me singing with the choir in rehearsal.
Is that right?
In rehearsal, and meeting Lloyd Newell.
Yes, of course.
And I was privileged to sit in the production box during the broadcast on that conference Sunday. It was for the October conference in 2015.
Wow.
So, yes, that is my intimate meeting with them.
What did that do for you when you were there singing with the choir? What were those feelings?
It was just awesome. And awesome is a word I usually only use within relation to God because he's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that I can say that. It was unreal in a way.
Yeah.
And but what an absolute privilege. And the people are just us, they're normal people witnessing through their voices and their music.
Wow, incredible. I can almost imagine you just beaming, sitting there. We'll see if we can get some pictures of this maybe and put on our B-roll for this podcast that we're doing. But I'm just incredible. Yashika, you then were there more recently, I guess, here,
Absolutely.
just in 2025. Tell us about your experience of being with the choir, witnessing and watching that, sitting down. I remember you sat down nice and low. And
absolutely, right in front.
Right in front. Yeah, tell us about your experience.
So I will share two experiences because I was actually there a few years before that. I think it's around 2010. I was part of a scholarship with journalists from Africa. And the Church of the Latter-day Saints was actually one of the most amazing churches because they helped the government to organize visitors from different parts of the world. And I was very privileged. A team of journalists from Africa, about 30 of us, were in the choir, being recorded on the Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. They took us around Temple Square. We were, witnessed the work of the mission as well. And I think it's absolutely incredible. But last year was something magical for me. Just being in the front rows, experiencing the depth of 20,000 people almost in that beautiful conference center. It's absolutely amazing. To think that they would come, and they would come every day for that week, was incredible. And also the production value, the orchestra, the beautiful sounds of Christmas hymns being sung was deeply, deeply inspiring. And for me, even if I'm a Hindu, I appreciate music because it's the value that emanates. And I often believe that we are beyond church. We should be beyond temple, beyond church, because it's what's resonating with you at that particular point in time. And it's a space of energy, because music is like a ripple effect of vibrations, and that vibration turns into frequency, and frequency becomes waves, and that waves has an impact on our soul.
Wow. I can, as you explain that, I'm seeing these frequencies and these waves, spreading across the world.
Absolutely.
Which is what you have helped this broadcast to do here in South Africa, which it also, SABC has also extends into Botswana and some other, places also. But the music of the Tabernacle Choir spreading over these waves over our hearts and helping us in a moment of need.
Absolutely.
Roma, as you think about the power of music and how it speaks to our hearts, for you, as you've watched for years, and you continue to watch today, the broadcast, even though they brought that new guy in as well, right? And as you continue to watch the broadcast, how does music speak to your heart? What does it do for you? Or how has it helped
emotional.
You in a time of need?
It's actually emotional. And I'm going to pick on one point of one of the music and the spoken words, which I have a link on my phone to. Okay. And when my mind's churning over at night and I can't get to sleep, I reach for my phone. It was in your Pioneer concert in 2019, Cecil singing Slow Down.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible, exquisite. And I do want to mention the choir, because they were in the background like angels, singing in the background. And I listened to that so frequently. And it was in the conference center, not the Tabernacle, but it is just beautiful. And so it's my go-to song.
Wow.
When I'm stressed out or tired or not sleeping, slow down. And to have the angels singing to me late at night when I'm trying to get to sleep. So yes, music is a message across cultures. And South Africa is very into singing. Yes. The Black culture is very into singing. Yeah. So and so we know it all around. So yes, it reaches into all our hearts and souls.
What a beautiful example and story. And I remember that very song and her singing that. And I can still remember today how I felt when I heard that. And I happened to be there for that one. Wow. And I remember the way that felt. How about for you, Yashika? How does music speak to your heart? What does it do for you as you listen to sacred music that is meant to help us to take time to be still?
Absolutely. So it's almost like a meditation in a way. And I believe that the rhythm calms one down, especially in the days of chaos and moments when we experience lots and lots of challenges. So for me, music from all faiths, the indigenous traditions of the world, and even when religions may not have particular music aspects, like in Islam, for example, but they have rhythm and poetry. Mm-hmm. So it all goes back to that ancient sounds that I believe every religion has espoused to and has brought through for generations. So I'm very privileged to actually be in that space just to experience that sound and that word. One song actually strikes me, this little guiding light of mine. Yeah. So born in South Africa, we listen to all music. Christmas is part of everybody's traditions, but may not be done in a particular way from a Christian perspective, but it's done from a holiday perspective, because factories close down, work stops, and families come together. And one thing the church does, the Church of the Latter-day Saints emphasizes, is the value of family. And because family brings, people come together. So South Africa's been through a very difficult time with the apartheid regime. And the song, This Little Guiding Light of Mine, when I hear it often and the way it's sung by the angelic voices of the choir, reminds me of that time of struggle, of the difficulties we went through in the 80s. I was very much involved in the liberation movement. And it was that song that our ministers, the political ministers as well as the church ministers, sang and brought us together, irrespective of your faith. You had Muslims, Hindus, Jews, everybody singing, because it brought hope at a time of great difficulty. And imagine that type of inspiration.
Yes.
Nobody changed anyone's faith or religion, but the song brought us together. And it became part and parcel of the struggle songs, as we call it, over a period of time.
Yeah, beautiful. As I imagine and have read about and studied, those times of struggle, and also recognizing that there's other times of struggle, very different, not to be compared, but that we all feel, whether in communities or in our hearts, the power of music can seep in if we'll open the door to allow it to have an effect upon our hearts. Music in the spoken word, as you're aware, has just recently surpassed its 5,000th broadcast. We're on our 97th year. We're knocking on the door of 100 years of continuous network broadcasting, which makes it the longest running television and radio show continuously broadcasted on a network in the world. Why do you think this program has been able to endure? I mean, that's a really long time with very little change, actually. The recipe has pretty much stayed the same.
Yes.
25 minutes of music, 3 minutes of a spoken word message. It's pretty much been the same since the beginning. To either of you, why do you think it endures?
I think it is because it reaches everyone. It's not specific to one audience. The content, the songs, are a wide variety. You sing in other languages too. You have artists from everywhere. So you don't just stick to the people in Salt Lake City. Yeah. And so the message comes through to everyone, despite or whatever religion or non-religion, because you can draw a person in, and the message is general, if I may say that.
Sure. Yeah.
So it appeals
universal,
to,
hopefully.
I didn't know if I could use that.
Same word.
Yes.
Same
and
meaning.
And so
though.
it's not specific to an audience, and it's wide-reaching, and the quality. Yeah. I mean, I worked in production many years ago before I became a CE. And my very first religious producer, and we used to do choirs. Mm-hmm. And he used to tell the choir, one voice, please. I can hear. And that's what the Tabernacle choir is, one voice. Yeah. And so it's the quality and the beauty of it coming through.
Mac Wilberg and Ryan Murphy and their predecessors have worked so hard on having that feeling of unity coming from the scene. Yes. And maybe that's why we feel the unity that spans, again, yesterday's meeting, a Jew, a Hindu, yes. a born-again Christian, a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. Yes. I mean, that's really something, and yet we all feel similar feelings coming from it. Yashika, is there anything you would add about what helps this program endure?
So I think what I was very privileged last year at the concert was to listen to the organ. And for me, that was deeply, deeply inspiring, because it resonates with so many traditions. If you take the Buddhist tradition, if you take Indian tradition, indigenous tradition, the quality of the wood, the sound pipes. Sure. And the organ master, Richard Elliott, was just saying how they have to maintain the organ, because everybody assumed it's steel or some other kind of material, but it's actually wind, it's wind instrument. So for me, it goes back to nature, it goes back to ancient sounds that has been put together so meticulously by the choir and the team that actually supports the music. So for me, the dedication, the meticulousness, the 100% perfection in getting the sound is what I admire about music and the spoken word and the people behind it. And I really must compliment the choir master, the musical direction of the choir itself. It's not haphazard, everything is well thought of. Even training one in the organ playing as well. And every tradition has their uniqueness, and I think just being in that space and hearing it, that perfection allows us to resonate with it. And anywhere in the world. And the fact that it's longest running means that it's established, it's entrenched. I can put it on and do something, but I can always come back to the Psalms because it actually calms the environment. You should actually use this as a training in yoga and healing and bring kids together, because I feel that today's kids are too caught up in the cell phones. We probably need cell phone fasting for a while. And then let them calm down with just the choir music.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, you're right. It is so easy to be distracted by many good things. But being able to take the time to slow down, to disconnect, as Sissel taught us back in 2019, and as the choir seeks to do regularly, to take even just those 30 minutes of peace that is broadcast to the world, has an effect upon the world. Now, you brought up, giving your regards to those that were behind the scenes, the cameras. That's where both of you were for the entirety of your careers. As you were behind the scenes and helping to orchestrate, actually, in a very similar manner to Mac or Ryan, but behind the scenes, helping this to go out, what kind of joy or reward or fulfillment did you feel in your roles over all of those years?
So firstly, I must say, when we did our reviews of the program, we had to be strong because you're fighting a world of secularism. And I often tell the religious elders and our founding fathers from all the faiths, I said, look, we're not going to fight the battle between us. We have to come together because we're fighting a money battle here. We're fighting a world that's fast moving away from faith. And we need to reignite that. Let's use what we have that's available to us. And music and the spoken word was already there. I didn't have to start working on a program to then get to that point. So it was so amazing that when we brought it out and people just sat and listened to it in the review, it immediately calmed them because they saw perfection. The lighting was great, the setup of the choir, the stage, everything. So those particular elements. But more than that, they realized that there's power behind faith. And that needs to come out. And for me, this show actually proved that. And I was very happy at that time. Roma was a little nervous now and again because, we have to appeal to particular demographics in South Africa. But at that point, it transcended it because of the quality of the program.
Oh, thank you. Anything that you feel to add, Roma?
Oh, it was just a privilege for me. I am a behind-the-scenes person. And to be able to ensure that with this program, I never had to worry, is there going to be content that I might have a problem broadcasting on the public broadcasting in South Africa? Because we have very specific rules.
Right, of course.
And it meant I could, from behind the scenes, know that what is going out, not under my name, but my care, is I'm fine. And I could relax and enjoy watching it without worrying, is something coming up? And so behind the scenes, it's quite a responsible job putting programs out, and especially where you've got a lot of rules and so it was just a privilege to, in my career as full-time working for the Lord, it was a privilege being in religion, knowing that I could put out a message that was going to everyone.
Did you view your time spent at SABC in the religion department almost as a calling?
I didn't realize at the time, but because God opened the door for me, and I was already a born-again Christian when I joined the SABC, but I didn't know television. So yes, to me, it was a calling. I cried when they moved me from religion the first time, because I was quite experienced and they needed an experienced production secretary. And they moved me out to a number of places. And I actually cried because that was my home. And I didn't want to move. Okay, I learned a lot and thoroughly enjoyed the few years I was out. But God opened the door for me to go back in 1989. Wow. And, people say, oh, you were there all in one department. No, God's got a very wide department. And thank you. It was a calling.
And isn't that true? I love what you're teaching us. Sometimes it can feel like in the work of putting forward faithful messages that we're in this box, but you're right. The department of God is everlasting. It's eternal. It's infinite. And it gives us so many opportunities to experience new things, to learn new things, to feel new things, and to share new things. Thank you. Yashika, why do you do what you do?
So just picking up on what Roma said, we always assumed we're in a little box because we and then the rest of the world. But I often say that let's not do that because it also tends to be egotistical. We have to be humble servants of the Lord. And for me, that was the first point when I understood the call. We have the term call in so many traditions. And as I said, I could have taken up a job anywhere. I was even offered to work outside of the country. But something stirred in me because it was about our contribution to the country, to the continent, and also globally, what is it that we're going to leave behind? So I do what I do is because what is the legacy? How are we going to shape the next generation? If we do not have the universal values of love, peace, kindness, non-violence, that these shows emanate, and through our policies as well, because as Roma was saying, we always have to check the programs to make sure it's not harming another faith, it's not hurtful to another tradition, but it's enhancing the values that are there to show this multi-platform, multiple, space. So for me, that is why I do what I do. And I believe it's a journey for me, I've been here a long time, 30 years almost.
We've been friends for 30 years.
We've been friends for 30 years. Wow. And she was my trainer. She taught me when I first came in because we had to learn the ropes. I think I was the only female in that one group. I was female, single, and Edward was one of our colleagues would say pagan. He even put a poster up teasing, not in a negative way, because people misunderstood one in those early days. There was a particular training of religious people, and people assumed they had the moral high ground. But the changes in the country changed that, and I think I'm very grateful to actually the churches in the country to allow all the voices of religion to come about. Wow. It was actually the foresight of the churches in the country to bring about the peace and harmony, because they realized we cannot exist in isolation.
Yeah. Well, as you speak about that, my fourth great grandparents joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in South Africa on May 3rd, 1857. Wow. They were baptized in the Bushman's River in the Eastern Cape. My wife's grandfather served as a missionary here 80 years ago, in the late 40s and early 50s. My brother's wife served here 25 years ago as a missionary. And as I think back about even that history in my own family and of watching the evolution and the opportunity for us to speak more and more about these things openly and to have it be received and accepted, I can't help but to recognize that so much of that came about because of your efforts, because of the both of yours willingness to answer that calling that you felt in your hearts to be here, even putting aside other opportunities or things that came, and to do it with joy and to be sending a steady message to all of those in South Africa and beyond of this tolerance and of this unification that we all hope for from each of our faiths, including our Jewish friend Mark that we met with yesterday as well, representing that incredible group of people. And so thank you on behalf of the Tabernacle Choir. Thank you for your most meaningful contribution in helping the voice of the Tabernacle Choir be heard, for its spirit to be felt, for the spoken word messages of Lloyd Newell and now myself to be heard across the airwaves here in this country. As we close our time today, is there any last message that either of you just feel to share, any thought that is on your mind about the power of music, about music in the spoken word, or anything that you feel to share that we've been addressing today, that you'd like to share with others.
Continue as you are. I hope the Tabernacle Choir manages to carry on for another 97 years, and that you get encouraged, and the viewers, wherever they are over the world, continues to get that heartfelt message of encouragement and hope and witness, as you mentioned at some stage. Yeah.
Thank you, Roma.
I think you've mentioned the word power, and I feel it has such an incredible quality to it. It's not about taking over. It's the power of resilience. It's the power of passion. And if we combine that together, it gives us the purpose of why we do what we do. And I think, as Roma just said, continue, because you do it with dedication, you do it with humility, and you do it with love. So let us hear that constantly. Even when I'm getting older, I'd love to listen to that in the old age homes and to be inspired by that always.
Thank you, Yashika. Thank you to both of you. This has been the most incredible time spent with you. I can feel of your goodness. It is expressed from your hearts, but also through the smiles on your faces. And again, we are so grateful for our friendship, our collaboration, and wishing the both of you heaven's most choicest blessings upon you and your families, your loved ones. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was an honor.